Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, Sunday edition. Of course.
I like it.
Told you.
Season 7, episode 39. Coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios inside the bunker in an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. With the mountain view at the highest point. And Scotty has been in the DeLorean all day. We don't know where he is. Going back in time, back to 1955. And also, we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Paid the $22 a month on X Live.
Yeah.
And Twitch.
You can always tell it's not scripted.
On the Let's Go Devils Network.
Oh.
Yeah. And also,
Yeah.
go to joinourcrew.com. Joinourcrew.com. It's growing by the day. Our email list and text message list. It's one of the finest places to join. So during the season, if we do a pop-up podcast or there's a special going on or there's something major going on, say if we decide to do a pop-up podcast with Marty Brodeur, never happened, but let's just say
you never know. You can't
know.
say never.
Yeah.
You never know. We've had some pretty amazing guests on the show.
Yeah, you never know.
I'll tell you what, if we did have that
know.
type of podcast, everyone on our email and text message list would be the first to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
or like Stephen Angle just said, like, if we trade for Brady Tkachuk and we did, boom, big pop-up podcast. That'd be a big one.
We'll be in Ottawa for that one.
And check that box. Boop. Yeah, dude.
Gotta mention it.
Gotta mention it. It's interesting. The summer, we were just talking off air. Like, I have been off the last 2 weeks. I'll be off for the next 2 weeks. The summer is a very interesting time because scheduling is always interesting. And it's always fun because when we have to talk about things during the summer, my kids were just asking me, they're like, so what do you guys talk about when there's no hockey? And I go, well, I got to go. And I left the room. I'm like, yeah, there's always stuff to talk about. You know, like there's always moves that are made. And like the Devils have made a few moves in the front office. And, very interesting. Very interesting. But it's sometimes like this is that time of year where like things do slow down and a team's going to is going to be a little bit quiet. But at the same time, how many days away are we from opening day? It can't be that far off. We got to be under 86, right?
No, we're about 60. I would say, let's see, today's the 4th, maybe 66 days.
66 days.
For at least opening night at Prudential.
Which is what, October 17th or something? Let me look that up.
10th.
October 10th.
You got it.
So I'm going to do math.
You got to be with the program, Beer Baron. You got to memorize the schedule. Yeah, but I know you
memorize the schedule.
But
I'm a teacher. My brain is like summer brain right now. All right, I don't even know what day it is some days, and it's a glorious.
I'm not even looking.
It's a glorious feeling.
I'm going to be honest. As much as I love Devils hockey, I am not one to count down my summer because the faster I count down my summer, the faster I go back to work, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Oh my
goodness.
Very true. I wish I could say the same thing.
Yeah, but remember, we don't get paid to be off in the summer. It's just a perk that we have. That's it.
Yeah. That's why I work so many hours at the fair, so I can make it through the summer.
Yeah. Well, Max said it right. The Devils hired Fletcher, and that was a bit of a head scratcher. And I'm kind of curious to see.
Yeah.
What the deal is with that, because he's like an assistant to the assistant to the assistant. He's got basically the Dwight Schrute. He's got the Dwight Schrute title in the upper management of the Devils. They bring Andy Greene back, which I love when they do that. I love when they bring ex-players back into the fold and kind of get them into a front office position. Sometimes it's a gateway for them to go into other positions, into other franchises, into other areas. But there are guys that putting pretty deep roots in this area. Andy Greene is definitely one of those guys that put in some pretty deep roots in this area. And, even when he got traded and he played for the Islanders for, 2 years, I'm pretty sure that when he was going through that process, he was basically like, if you're going to send me anywhere, like, I don't want to be far away. So I wanted to, so he comes back to roost, which is nice. It's nice to see that he's back in the fold. But this Fletcher move is kind of interesting, considering his track record and
you know how I feel about that.
Oh yeah.
Basically, do opposite what he says.
That's what everybody's saying on the YouTube group too.
Be like, Fletch, should we trade Dawson Mercer away for Kachuk? He'd probably say, no, don't do it. And then they'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the oddest one. I like the Manny Legace edition. I think that's going to be good. And then Andy Greene coming back. There's one of the things I think the Devils lacked over the last couple of years was any kind of direction of culture and identity. And bringing someone back like Andy Greene, who was a longtime New Jersey Devil, is going to help with building that culture. I know now we have him, Sarge. We got Brodeur still there. Players like that are going to do nothing but just show what the younger players need to know about what it is to play in New Jersey, what it is to play for the logo on the front, and to be a resident of the Garden State. And I love that signing. I think that's great. It brings character back. You knew at some point he was the type of player that would probably come back. We've had players like Zajac come back and help out. Elias seems to always be around whenever he's in the area, and I gotta imagine that Elias will be involved with the team over in when they're playing overseas. So it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be something good for the Devils to have Andy Greene there. But yeah, the Fletcher edition is that was odd. Very odd.
It is odd. It is odd just because they already have like a lot of people in that front office. I feel like they have enough people that are an assistant to
the assistant regional manager.
Exactly. Like Fitzy has enough guys and women in that front office to kind of go over everything. So I would love to hear what the actual theory is, but why not jump into a conspiracy theory with Sam Wu? Ladies and gentlemen, this conspiracy theory is brought to you by Ann Crew Brew. Come and join our crew. Sorry.
Enjoy one conspiracy at a time.
Enjoy one.
All right,
Sam, just before you get into the conspiracy theory, you really got to isolate a soundbite of Vinny doing the Ann Crew Brew F1 racer, so you could just kind of hit the button when we do this.
That was pretty good.
Or it's kind of like that circular saw, like you're in the dorm room and it's like 1 p.m. You're still asleep and they're doing construction outside your dorm room, and all you hear is when they're going through that saw. Anyway.
All right, let's.
Here's my conspiracy.
Let's go to the conspiracy theory corner.
The only thing I can think of here is there's a Philadelphia connection. Mm-hmm. Somehow Joshua Harris, being with the 76ers, crossed paths with Chuck Fletcher, and they, just like John Hines, somehow they get jobs everywhere, and they made an impression. And maybe this is their way of kind of keeping tabs on Fitzy by bringing this guy in, a veteran executive, just to kind of like be a mole in the room. That's my conspiracy theory.
They picked like the worst mole ever. Like nobody's gonna trust this guy with any information. Like if
no. It's more like a spy for the ownership group. Because there's no reason to hire this guy other than he was in Philly, his last stop. He probably befriended one of the owners, either Blitzer or Harris. This is all conspiracy. I'm not saying I have any information here, but there's no reason for this.
Maybe it's like one of those federal no-show jobs where they're just gonna give him a paycheck and he just doesn't. He shows up and walks through the door and then walks out the other side of the building, just as like a breeze through the office, and then they just send him a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Or like a rubber room.
Yeah.
You know what a rubber room is?
Well, your conspiracy theory might not be that far off, where they might have like made a really good connection with him when he in his time in Philadelphia, even though they don't own or have anything to do with the Flyers. Like, you're bound to pass cross paths. So I wouldn't be shocked if that were the case. At the same time, it could be one of those things where they're like, hey, we'll help you try to get your, maybe he reached out to them like, hey guys, like, could you help a guy out trying to get my feet back under me, or something like that, or just get into the circle of trust of people and blah, 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 blah. So who knows? It was one of those things that, like, when it was announced, it was kind of like, oh, okay, then. All right. That's very interesting. It's not earth shattering. It's not going to be one of those things that, it's a make or break of this franchise. And I don't think it's going to be a detriment to have him in the front office. I know a lot of people dislike him, fan wise, and don't agree with and a lot of the moves that he made, even when he was making them for the Flyers. But I don't think it's going to have a big impact. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to send shockwaves throughout the entire organization. It's not going to be like when Ray Shero got fired and Fitzgerald was already like in the wings waiting, as the assistant general manager, and basically it was pretty much like. They gave him the keys before they let Shero go out the door. So I don't think it's going to be.
I wonder where they found Ray Shero, how that all came about. You had Lou Lamoriello there, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, there's Ray Shero.
Well, Ray Shero, the Pittsburgh connection, that weird deep tie that the Devils had to like the Pittsburgh organization for a while.
He still kind of do. He has that Flyers connection when his dad was the coach.
His father,
years ago. That's where he grew up. When his dad was the coach of the team. He has close ties with the Flyers, believe it or not. So, I don't know. I think it's just so random.
Yeah. Who knows? Like we said before, it could just be one of those things, and it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe they're hiring him now so they can put him in the Sixers front office or something stupid like that too. Maybe they're just giving him a job so they can find a job for him with the Sixers. Like it's just, it's an odd hiring. It's you can have. There is a point where you have too many executives making too many decisions, which you don't need, and then that could definitely screw up a hockey team because you have too many people that want to have a say in the whole process and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I just hope that, like we've said, like Max said, just like whatever he says, do the opposite. Maybe who knows?
Like Morgan's bad.
Yeah. We will have failed as a fan base if we don't get Fletcher fired before Thanksgiving. I love it. I love how like he didn't really do anything yet, and if like something goes wrong, he'll be the first. That's why Fitz probably hired him, to protect his own ass. He's like, if something goes wrong, everybody will just blame this guy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He walks into his room and he's like, "Why do I have title scapegoat on my door? I don't understand what that means." But he's like, "Am I really good?" And they're like, "Yeah. You're like the goat. Like Marty's the goat. Like, you're the scapegoat. It's like the same thing, dude."
Yeah. Scapegoat.
Who knows? I honestly agree with the fact of like what you were saying about having too many cooks in the kitchen can sometimes screw things up. But there has to be an understanding. Like Fitzgerald is the end all be all final say on it. And I mean, he's done a great job building this team thus far. And I mean, this offseason has been on paper pretty darn good, so I'm just curious to see what's going to happen, when some of these contracts come up, when you have Luke's contract coming up, when you have, because, Nico's got 4 years left on his deal. Jack's got 5 years left on his deal. So you got the big names are locked up for a while.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to pay Luke soon. Then you're going to have to pay Nemec soon. See how those guys start to pan out.
You're going to have to figure it out.
You're going to have to figure it out. And I feel like we're in the right hands. I feel like Fitzgerald has done a wonderful job, especially you look at the structure of Jack's deal and Nico's deal and Brad's deal and Meyer's deal.
They were good.
And the fact that none of those guys are making over $9 million a year. The fact that all these guys are borderline superstars, because Jack, if he stays healthy, will be a superstar. And and they're controllable, and they're and they're really solid and manageable contracts. And one of the things that he said in an interview, which I always thought was really great, was Fitzgerald talked about how he approached the players and said, I need you to think about it like this. I can give you an $11 million contract, but then you're not leaving any food on the table for anybody else. And if you're not going to be able to do that, then we're not going to win. If you're able to leave a little bit of meat on the table and let us, spread that around, you're going to be able to help us build a team. The whole Tom Brady theory, you get a guy that buys into the system, who is a superstar and who is worth way more than he's actually getting paid. That's how you win championships. That's how you can build a championship roster. Just hopefully the pieces that he gets are, what fill it out.
Yeah, and then you start winning like that, and then the players start getting more endorsements on their end as well. So they wind up making more money because the team is doing well, and the Devils logo becomes a well-known brand, and it's something recognizable. It's something people want to attach themselves to, and the players do that as well. It goes hand in hand. It's right there. It sounds like Fitzy coming from that point of view coming from a former player. Listen, you know what? We can give it all to one guy, and then we're just gonna suck because he can't fill out the rest of the roster.
Which is true.
It's very true, but that's definitely the ego of a former player, knowing you want a full team around you, not just a couple superstars. And it's, I guess, we can't really point to Edmonton anymore right now because they made it to the finals this past year. But look at Toronto. They've got the big four. All they talk about is the big four, but they can't fill out the rest of it. And the big four haven't gotten out of the first round more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather, if Fitzy can keep this up and keep these contracts under control, it's one of those things. This is salary cap signings, what you have going on here. It's doing the salary cap the right way, not circumventing it like the Bolts do and teams like that.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Ted? Yeah, and
Ted.
You look at teams that go all in when they have big contracts. You look at what happened in Chicago. Chicago won their cups. They did, they went on a hell of a run when they had, Taves and Kane and freaking was. Oh my God, why can't I remember their defenseman that they had forever?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's everyone. Seabrook, what's his
Seabrook? There. But when they had that big core of players and they were going on that run, now, they went through some pretty lean times after that because they got hamstrung with so many big contracts. I feel like Pittsburgh is starting to come up on that because Pittsburgh, the years with Crosby and the years with Malkin and doing all that and Letang and all those guys, that stuff, once those guys start getting past their prime, that stuff, it starts really catching up to you. That's why you start seeing guys like Steven Stamkos ending up in Nashville. I mean, at least if you look at what Tampa Bay did, Tampa Bay went all in. They won their cups. They did what they had to do. And now they're starting to be a little bit more, I don't know if I'd say smart about it, because I think I would have tried to figure out a way to keep Stamkos in your system, being that he was, one of the longest tenured Tampa Bay Lightning in the face of your franchise for, many years before your success and all this other kind of stuff. So the loyalty, I feel like loyalty is something that's not really seen in sports as much from both the player side and from the management side. But you look at letting him go and like, okay, well now we'll restructure Hedman and we'll get him his money and all this other kind of stuff. So I feel like they're balancing themselves out a little bit. So they might not fall into those hard times, but it's tough. Like the salary cap era is made it really hard for some teams to keep success. Like, you don't see the dynasties and stuff like that anymore.
No. I mean, just look what happened with Florida like a month and a half ago. I mean, they won, and come July 1, some of their players immediately split. Like, OEL was never going to stay in Florida. As soon as he had another contract, It was out of town. And then now once you win, winning breeds success. Success breeds, needing to pay the guys, and that's the thing. It's. But if we have these guys locked up for a decent amount, hopefully by the time these guys' contracts come up, the salary cap has gone up. The Devils have been successful. The Devils have won. The Devils have made a ton of money, and the Devils are able to pay these guys a lot easier. So that's also another angle that maybe Fitzgerald is using. Like, listen, hey guys, we put this core together. We do some winning. We, we have success. The team makes more, and in the end, eventually when the cap goes up, you get paid more because we've made more because you decided to have a team here instead of just a personal contract. And I know that Jack has a little bit more personal incentive to have a better contract because he's going to want to play with Luke. It would be, I'm sure any team in the league would love to have him, but is any team in the league going to sign him and his brother and pay them really well? It's tough. So, they're going to have to find a way. That's for sure.
Yeah, and one of my biggest concerns with Jack too is coming into the season is his health. Like, is he finally going to be able? Did they reconstruct that shoulder? Did they
we'll
put in?
out.
Yeah. I mean, last year the pace that he was on in the beginning of the year was insane, and then as soon as he got hurt, the season fell apart. It was like he got hurt, Dougie got hurt, like all these injuries that happened around the same time, and the season just crumbled after that. My biggest concern is just keeping him healthy. If he has a year where he's on the ice for all 82, or at least 90% of the
70.
games, 70 games, but he's not missing significant. This is the problem. Is like you don't want him to miss significant time because of an injury. Like maybe he has a day off here, a day off there.
And here, maintenance days here and there.
Yeah. So like that, I don't mind, but I want to see him have a full season. And if he could stay on a pace that he gets on, because I mean he had at one point he was leading the league in scoring, he was leading the league in points per game, he was leading the league in like all sorts of different categories, and he was like almost at like a 3-point per game, pace in the beginning of the year last year, and then he cooled off a little bit, and then boom, got injured, and it kind of like threw everything for a loop. And I mean he still ended up with pretty good numbers at the end of the year, but at the same time, like. A full year of Jack, fully healthy, he could do pretty amazing things. And then you know what? A couple years from now, if he starts doing that, and if he starts staying healthy, you're also going to get into like you're going to have to restructure him because there's no way in hell he's going to play for the current contract that he has if he continues to ascend to what we think he could be. But that's all on him. That's if he's got to stay healthy and he's got to be able to.
Yeah, that's on. You're right. That's on him. He's got to stay healthy, but hopefully the Devils sent him to, the proper person to do this, and that he's going to do the PT and the strength training that he needs to do to keep that injury from reoccurring. But then, you restructure him, but looking at Puckpedia right now, you've got Timo, Jack, and Jesper all UFAs in the same year.
Oof.
That would be 28-29. So the end of the 27-28 season. They're all UFAs. The season before, Nico is a free agent. Palat is a free agent. At that point, my guess is Palat will be 33 and probably calling it a day or moving on. And then at that point, too, Dougie is also a free agent that same season, along with Pesci, along with Siegenthaler. And at that point, we also need to have a good long-term goaltender figured out. So I'm not sure off the top of my head what the projected, when the cap could go up in those couple years, or if the cap is projected to go up maybe that particular season. I'm not sure. But that's a lot of UFAs in the same season that are big pieces to this team. So there's going to have to be a restructuring and an extension at some point. Because at that point, let's see. So that's 4 seasons from now. Timo will be 31. Jack will be 27, prime of his career. Jesper will be 30. Nico will be 29. Dougie will be 35. Potentially done. And Pesci will be 33. So,
which is crazy because it's not even that old. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not. It's really not. But I'm just saying, like, looking at those ages and looking what they're going to be able to do. It's one of those things, though. It's you've got to be able to be able to have it figured out at that point.
Yeah.
So and that's what. So basically, we have a 4-season window right now to make sure that we win the cup, and you almost want to win it within the next 2. I know Sam's been predicting 2025. You almost want to win it, not 27, 28 when free agents, because that would be a hell of an offseason and trying to jockey around some money and do some numbers. You almost want to win by the latest 26, 27. This way,
and
you've got time
and
to
the
extend.
idea of, yeah, and there it is too, like the extensions too, right? Because there's in theory you would never want those 3 contracts to come up at the same exact time. So I can imagine, like, between now and then there will be either restructuring or there will be some kind of extension, or there will be whatever. And I believe the cap will be going up again next year. How much it goes up, I'm not 100% sure, but either way, this is why these guys get paid the money they get paid. This is why Fitzgerald is in the position that he's in, because no matter how hard we try to figure it out as fans, and, like, let's be real, like, that's all we are. That's all I am. Like, I'm not an analyst. I'm not a professional sportscaster that has, like, all these things, pinned up on my wall that I could look at. I'm a moron who drinks beer and watches hockey. Like, that's pretty much it.
Just a bunch of morons drinking beer, talking hocky on a Sunday night.
But somehow we know. But somehow we know more than everybody else.
Says who?
Oh, I don't know.
Not me.
Definitely not Reddit. Definitely not some of these groups.
Whatever, man. Like, I look at the situation and it blows my mind to try to figure out how to juggle a roster the way you have to do it.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like, looking at what Fitzgerald has been able to do, he's done fantastic. I mean, yes, is there room for improvement? For sure. Like, the whole goalie situation up until this point, even with Markstrom, like, we have to wait and see how this is going to pan out. You have to wait and see how Markstrom's going to be. Like, is he going to be the goaltender that we all hope he's going to be? Is he going to be better? Is he going to be worse? Is he going to have an injury in training camp and disappear like Corey Crawford? Like, there's so many things. But... No, and knock on wood, because God forbid. But, like, at the same time, like,
our luck.
On paper, what he does on paper always looks great. Even before the beginning of last season, the team on paper. And if you think we're full of it, if you think we don't know what we're talking about, look at the predictions from some of the actual insiders and some of the actual hockey minds. Because last year they had the Devils pinned as one of the top 5 teams in the NHL. And then things happen. Injuries happen. Wheels fell off. Coaches get fired. And, I mean, that's the unpredictability of what any sport really is. Because you could have it, everything could be buttoned up and everything could look nice, and you have all your superstars under $9 million, and we have this brand new defenseman that came in and blah blah blah, and everybody's super pumped and this, that, and the other thing, and then it's an absolute disaster. So bringing in Sheldon Keefe, I mean, I feel like that's a huge move in the right direction. It's going to be very interesting. This is going to be one of the more fun off-season, or one of the more fun seasons, I feel like, that we've had in a while. Even though, like, the last, 2 years ago, we went to the playoffs, beat the Rangers in the first round. It was fantastic. But I don't know. This season, to me, on paper right now, looks and smells and feels good.
Yeah, as of right now, it does, and it feels better than last season, where we were looking at our roster being like, "Ooh, this is real thin. Like, this is one injury away from disaster." And lo and behold, injuries happened, and it was a disaster. So, but this is movement, and I'm right there with you. This is definitely a lot of movement that we've done, and looking forward to that home opener. Looking forward to seeing the Devils open up, over in Europe in the beginning of October. Not looking forward to it enough to wish away the rest of my summer and not spend time sitting on the beach. Not going to wish that away. But yeah, it's been a fun off season. I mean, at this point we're in the doldrums of the off season, but beginning of July was a lot of fun watching what we were doing, and it's movement. It's what we've wanted to see. It's we kind of waited all off season last year to be like, all right, what are you going to do in D? What are we going to do in D? And we did nothing, and we just kind of status quo, and it was. But we made improvements. I think Fitzgerald saw the writing on the wall. He saw the product on the ice and said, "There's got to be change," and change was made, and that's the best part.
Yeah, let's make sure we lose at least one preseason game this year, because I'm way too superstitious, and going undefeated in the preseason last year was super cool.
Never good.
No,
it wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't like it at all. Everyone's like 7-0, 7-0, and I was like, "Oh, it's preseason."
Yeah, that's never good. It's never good.
Cool
Toffoli and Jack looked really good. Oh, it was not good. It was not good.
I'd rather go 0-7 in the preseason and make sure you work out all the kinks and you're doing some work and you're trying guys out, and then go into the regular season, with a full healthy roster. Preseason doesn't mean anything. Preseason is where you should try stuff out and experiment and see what works, what doesn't. The wins and losses in preseason that's the least of your worries. How does your power play work? How does your penalty kill work? How do your goaltenders work? Well, how do your pairs work? How do your lines match up? How do your lines work together? Like, that's what you do in preseason. Who cares about winning and losing? As far as I'm concerned, preseason games don't. I don't care if we win or lose them. Who cares? Go in, figure it out.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see the pairings, because, Dubs just brought up a great point. Will Dougie and Jack be themselves right out of the gate? That is the question. The torn pec that Dougie had is no joke. There's no guarantee he's ever going to be fully himself. Just got to hope. That's such a great point. Like, Dougie Hamilton coming back from this injury is more than likely not going to be the same player. And what kind of player are you going to be getting back? Are you going to get, what percentage of Dougie you're going to get back? Is he going to be on power play one? Is he going to be your number one defensive pair? Or is that going to be Pesci and Luke? There's so many things. And once again, Sheldon Keefe has his hands. Exactly. Working out all these issues and trying to figure this out. I mean, is it ideal that the Devils are going away on this trip to start the season? I don't know, because you could look at it from two different ways. You could look at it as, like, developmentally, does this give a new coach enough time to look at this roster, to go through practices, to go through preseason, and to understand what this team is and what their identity is going to be? Or is it good because it's like, yes, you get away, you're on this road trip. This could be a huge bonding moment for this team where, because you're overseas, it really forces you to be that much more together than just going on a road trip to, like, California per se. And maybe it is good to start the season off like this, because it's gonna forge the identity through this trip. So it's kind of an interesting way to start the season with a brand new coach. It's going to be I feel like Sheldon Keefe is not, it's not like he's a first time ever coach. So, we don't have to worry about the growing pains of that. Obviously he knows what he's doing, but it's a thing that I haven't really thought about until today, to be honest with you. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And what I like, I'm looking at at the schedule for. Do they have preseason on here? Let's see. Now they just completely, took a dump all over preseason, but they don't show the preseason games. What's nice is we play at 1:00 on the Friday game and 1 p.m. Eastern on the Friday and 10 a.m. Eastern on the Saturday game. And I gotta imagine, I could see them flying back the night of the Saturday game and just telling them to just go right home and go right to bed, just to get acclimated back to Eastern Standard Time right now. And they've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to acclimate, and then you got Toronto, and then Washington, and then Utah, and then Carolina away. So at least we're not transcending any time zones here in the U.S. Actually, until the end of October. So it's. But again, these guys probably have to be so much more used to going across time zones than we are. But I'm sure they also keep them on a certain regimen as well. So they've got that good space in between the games and the home opener. Would I be super shocked if they came into that home opener against Toronto and completely crapped to bed? Not at all. Not with playing 2 games in Europe and then coming back and 4 days later playing again. It wouldn't surprise me at all. But having said that, I do like the idea of being away in Europe for a little bit and seeing what that team does. Obviously not last season. The season we beat the Rangers in the playoffs. Is that when we started in Switzerland? Or is that before then?
I think that was before then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. At this point, everything blends together.
Yeah, it really does. I think Taylor Hall was still on the team when they were in Switzerland.
Oh man, yeah. See, that's how great my memory is. Yeah, that's how great my memory is.
Way long ago.
But again, but even though I'm looking at this now and this just dawns on me, we're in Europe. We start the season, one of the first games of the season, and we start the season with a back-to-back.
But this year the good old back-to-backs. But this year they don't have. I think they only have like 12 or 13 back-to-backs.
It's less than that. I know. Max knows the exact number. I think he said it was something like 9. Max knows off the top of his head. I guarantee it. But we've got 3 back-to-backs in the first month of the season, and one of them's in Europe. And I know back-to-backs were like the bane of our existence last year. They were such a pain because we were not very successful
last year.
I know. I just find it ironic that we started off with a back-to-back after having all those back-to-backs last year, but it's a special occasion at the same time too. So we'll see. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, and I'm all for this. I'm all for it.
And I know there's a good contingency of fans that are going to be going over there. I saw somebody saying. I saw somebody say in the very beginning. I think it was Selecta Boy said he's going to be. Was it him? No, Dubs. Dubs is going to be going. No, he just said home opener. I had to scroll all the way back up, but I do know there are a few people that were talking about going to this game. And listen, if I could convince my wife to do this, I think I would, because it's just an awesome experience. And Prague is absolutely beautiful, from what I've been told. And Max just told us 10 back-to-backs, which is nice because
awesome.
Better than 16.
Better than 16. So you're saying there's a chance.
And one of those back-to-backs, by the way, Utah and Vegas. Just saying.
Everyone should mark those on their calendar. Mark that on your calendar.
Just saying. So
just saying. Mark that on your calendar.
Utah. That'd be interesting.
I think we should look into. I think we should look into that. Although I'm going to be honest, Beer Baron, I don't know how the Beehive State would feel about you in a shirtless rant walking through town.
Oh my God, I'd probably get arrested. More than likely. At least the shirtless rant was in the middle of a college town, so they were probably like, it's normal.
This guy.
It's a normal Tuesday.
Yeah.
But in a very in Salt Lake City, I don't know. I've been to Salt Lake City, but it was a million years ago. I was in middle school, so I barely remember.
I was in the Salt Lake
Beautiful.
City airport. I was in the airport there in
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, transferring on my way to Seattle.
It's a beautiful area. Utah's a beautiful area. Park City, Utah was really beautiful.
Oh man!
But either way, listen, there's a couple of ideas that we've been throwing around. I know Nashville is a cool game, and I think that one lands on a weekend this year. So there's just some things that
the timing of it. Man.
Yeah.
Can
Anyways,
I do? What do you think? Can I do Prague from Friday night to Sunday morning?
And you go to work on Monday? Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so. Right. Wait, so the game is on Friday. The game is on Friday.
I try to go to the Saturday game.
So you'd only go to one.
Yep.
Okay.
It sounds exactly a trip that Shorts Guy would do. Fly out Friday night,
all the way there.
Go to Prague, we'll fly all the way there, go to the game on Saturday, go out after the game, go to the airport the next day, and leave.
Oh, Max said it's 12. 12 back-to-backs, not 10. Well, it's still not bad. Dude, that would be a hell of a trip. That's a hell of a trip.
What my Ireland
fly
trip
out
was.
there.
My Ireland trip
Stay
was
there one day. Dude, that would be pretty amazing. Yeah,
Just go to backpack. Just go to backpack and a toothbrush and call it a day.
And call it a day. Just throw your jersey in a backpack. It'll be fun.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Find an Airbnb or just stay awake for 24 hours. One or the other.
I did Cincinnati. We didn't even get a place to stay. We flew there in the morning. We went to a match. We went to a bar. We went back to the airport. We took a nap on a couch in the airport and got on the plane home. Not against that. I am not against that.
So we're months away from the season beginning. We're a month away from training camp. A month away from talking about PTOs and all that kind of stuff of people coming in. The season is still in its infancy because we're like you said, we're in the dog days of the off season where not a lot going on. Talk about Chuck Fletcher for 15 minutes and then there's nothing else to talk about. It's just Chuck Fletcher. Yeah. He's here. But we
didn't even mention the Manny Legace, did we?
We mentioned it, but we didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. So it's any help with the goaltending department and hoping that we can develop and figure out who the next goaltender is going to be because we got 2 years to do it. That should be on the top thing on the dry erase board in the front office, goaltending with a question mark. Yes, we have Markstrom, great. That's 2 years locked up. We've got to find the next guy that's going to take the reins in 2 years. Because Sam's favorite, Jake the Snake, he's got 1 year left.
1
Sam?
year. 1 year.
1 year
left. He's got 1 year, and it's going to be a good one. And he'll bring us the cup.
And
what
is
and you'll be and everybody will be snake bitten.
What is 2025?
2025 is the year of the snake.
Ooh.
It is. I don't make this stuff up.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Just put "You're the Snake."
Oh my God.
Google it right now. Okay. Everyone knocks on me on these conspiracy theories, superstition. I don't make this stuff up.
So Sam, you should get a jersey that says Jake the Snake on the back.
No, you know what I'm going to do for good luck? Do you remember the last time I bought 5 Rangers Suck T-shirts at a discount?
I do remember that. It was a good time.
Yeah, we won the cup back in 2003.
We did.
Where could I find 5 Rangers Suck T-shirts at a discount?
Yeah, from my store, which I'll post that link into the chat now. I'll post that link into the Facebook group as well. We're gonna I've got a summer sale going on the Rangers Suck T-shirts because not for nothing, it's been fun watching that team over on the other side of the Hudson have a disastrous summer. And I love nothing more than seeing the Rangers basically just have nothing going on. But yeah, the Rangers Suck shirts that I've had at American Whiskey, just put the link into the YouTube chat. It's on sale. It's midsummer sale, so check it out. Buy them up, 25% off, and be ready for the upcoming season. Buy one so you can wear it around and show your neighbors that are Ranger fans how much they suck.
Do you still have
because
any?
That team is doing nothing.
Do you still have any "I Hate Sam Wu" T-shirts left?
I have a couple, and I just might have printed a couple extras.
Well, that should be part of the deal as well.
How so?
Well, the Rangers suck. People hate.
Yeah, I hate
me.
Sam Wu on sale too.
Yeah, you should. Because I'll buy one.
I could do that right now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to buy one.
I can do that. I hate Sam Wu stuff right now. I'll put that on sale too.
Yeah, or even
Status.
better. Let's have a GoFundMe
on sale.
Yeah, GoFundMe for the possible Utah trip.
No, for the possible billboard that I want to put up.
Do it.
There is one. I found one off of County Highway.
In what? Gloucester County?
Pretty much. But hey, people wouldn't know where it's at. You just take a picture. It'd be like, it's up. And then everyone's like, whoa. Yeah. And then I put, that's all I could afford.
You need to put that on the bottom.
Yeah, that's all I can afford. Or maybe I should put joinourcrew.com on the bottom, and then, then I solicit donations so we can buy a big billboard and put it in the front of the MSG offices to bring back Erica Wachter. Good friend of the podcast.
Good friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm all about getting that billboard put up somewhere. There's a couple of them that I see on Route 80 that I'm like, oh, that'd be the perfect spot.
Yeah.
These big digital ones that drive me absolutely crazy when I'm driving by. So looking at some of these back-to-backs, because Max, thank you, Max, by the way, just put it into the group chat here, is Buffalo. We have Buffalo, obviously, in Prague, so we had that back-to-back with Buffalo to start the year. Yeah. The old Lindy rough back-to-back. Then we have we have Detroit Islanders, San Jose, Detroit, Washington, Carolina back-to-back. Those are always the weird ones. Like when you see a team home and then you go to their, like a home and home or a home and away or whatever it is. Those are always weird, but those are always fun because it builds like that animosity when you have a team where you see them like in back-to-back days.
It's playoff-esque.
And yeah, I always enjoy those.
It's like a game 4, game 5 type of situation in the playoffs, or a 5-6 or a 6-7 type situation, whatever you want to say it. But yeah, it's very playoff-esque in that.
I'm just looking at all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I wish. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Shorts Guy. In MLS, don't they have like trophies between certain teams, like the Cascadia Cup and all that kind of stuff that has nothing to do with like the actual MLS championship? It's just like these
it's local rivalries. It's local rivalries. There's one between the Red Bulls and City. There's one between the Red Bulls and DC United. There's the Cascadia Cup, which is Vancouver, Seattle, Portland. There's the Rocky Mountain Cup, I think it's called. That's between like Salt Lake City and Colorado. There's a bunch of they're basically regional trophies, like regional, local derby trophies of who wins, the most between it. So like it would be, let's say like a Metro Cup between the Devils, Islanders, and the Rangers, and which I feel like that they've kind of started to do, at least on MSG, is kind of have like a standing between the three teams, but actually have like a trophy. But it's one of those things too, where it's like, between New York and between the Red Bulls and DC, it's called the Atlantic Cup, and it just gets kind of passed back and forth between the supporter clubs and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a couple of them throughout the league.
Yeah, the reason why I brought this up, and it's funny because Max just said it, but like I've been playing NCAA football 25, which has been the best. I've been super happy with this game. But there's all those, like the same thing in college football. Like you have the Red River rivalry.
Things.
You have like these small things and these little trophies. I wish the NHL would expand into something like that. Like I always constantly think about like what are ways that the NHL can market themselves to like be bigger, to push themselves back into more of the conversation of being the top 4 league in the country. Because right now, the NHL is a clear 4th. You have MLB, NFL, MLB, and NBA kind of trade places back and forth. Although the NBA is I think more popular than MLB, and then the NHL is in 4th place, always like a pretty distant 4th place. And I know the NBA did like the mid-season tournament, but at the same time, like I don't want to do the mid-season tournament. I just wish they would do something to like be creative with the game. Like just don't restructure the game and make it like the puck is glowing now or like something stupid, but like make it more interesting for the fans. Like have it more of a fan-driven product, especially because, by the way, majority of the revenue is it's not television deals. They're one of the few leagues that is still, fan-based or ticket-driven for their revenue. So
here's for example with the Cascadia,
exactly.
But here's the thing, like with the Cascadia Cup over in I'm looking at this up now, and let me look up the Atlantic Cup too. A lot of these trophies and these regional these regional things come from the supporters of these teams. And it's not the league that does it, but the MLS likes to try to glom up these trophies and try to make it part of the league when it's a lot of it is supporter driven, and that's the unfortunate thing is it's got to come from us. If we want to have something, that means we have to have conversation. Like the Hudson River Derby between New York Red Bulls and NYCFC. The 2 sets of supporter groups worked together and helped to fund the trophy that gets won by winning the derby for the season.
Yeah.
So it would have to come from us if we wanted to have something like this.
Maybe we should have
discussions. We would have to have discussions with Ranger fans. So I'm all for it. Maybe we can
do
have
know one.
We do know one. We do know one, and he certainly likes to show his Ranger, his Ranger fan comes out quite often when we talk to him. But yeah, it's got to, some of it's got to come from us. I mean, even in the MLS Supporters Shield, that's one of the trophies a team can win in the season, and that was all supporter driven. It's some of this has got to come from us.
Maybe we should have we'll start this conversation off air, but maybe we should have this conversation where maybe this season between the Hockey on Tap guys and us, maybe we should have a trophy that somehow we figure out, because we have a couple guys that like different teams, especially Billy Dean being a Ranger fan.
Three Metro and one Atlantic.
I think we need to figure this out. Start small, and then maybe we could grow it, and maybe one day we'll talk to a rival podcast, like a Rangers podcast or something like that, and then we'll get like an actual trophy going back and forth. I think that'd be fun as hell.
Yeah, we just gotta get the funding to do it.
Yeah, that's true. Anybody millionaire out there want to fund our jet and possible trophy?
We haven't seen that graphic in forever. Oh, Sam's thinking. Sam's looking.
I don't even know where it's at. Oh, here.
Hey,
I found it. It's coming up right now.
Boom. There it is.
There it is. The biggest beer ever made.
I haven't seen that stupid crap. Hey, that's like a keg of Van Brew right there on the tarmac.
That's
you know what? When we get our private jet, it's going to have a kegerator with Ann Crew Brew in it.
Oh, 100%. And every time you pour the tap, it's going to go, Ann Crew Brew.
That would be awesome.
And then that tap will be broken within a month.
Man, oh man, I can't wait till we had that jet. Then any and all road trips are just on the table.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
But I like that Utah Vegas. I like that Utah Vegas. I like to look at that weekend. Hey,
good times. Good times had by all.
Yep. Hey, we can have a repeat of Group 5.
Repeat of Group 5. Oh my God, that'd be great. So we're at that point, Sam. I think we're at the final thoughts point of the podcast.
Who wants to go?
I'll start first. I'll start first because it's very simple. For anyone listening at home or watching now, buy a Rangers Sucks shirt or an I Hate Sam Wu shirt. Mid-season, midsummer sale, 25% off. It'll be in the for anyone listening tomorrow. It'll be in the Facebook group. Go check it out. We'll have Sam pin it, or I'll pin it, and go buy a Ranger Sucker or an I Hate Sam Wu t-shirt. They're on sale for a little while. I don't know how long they're going to be on sale. I'd like to sell them out so I can refresh the inventory, as they say. So buy a shirt.
Hashtag bring Brady to New Jersey. I love it. My final thought is I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Hopefully there will be some more exciting news. If anything interesting or exciting does drop in the meantime, I will try my best to make myself available because even though it is the off season, there is no rest for the wicked, especially no rest for Mr. Sam Wu, the producer and the head of our show, who is always available and ready to drop the breaking news. And we always want to say a very big thank you to him. Thank you to Shorts Guy for always being there. This is always fun, even in the summertime when, as my kids say, what the hell do you guys talk about? There's always something to talk about. And a huge thank you to everybody out there. You guys tuning in every Sunday night. Week in and week out. We can't tell you how much we appreciate all of you. And for everybody that's on the Facebook chat group and the YouTube chat group and everybody that participates, we try to see everything. We can't tell you how much we really appreciate all of you. We do try, and it's an absolute honor and a privilege that three knuckleheads like us who sit around, have a couple beers at a bar and talk hockey are able to talk to you guys during the summertime about all of it. But season is right around the corner. You can start feeling it. You can start smelling it. It's right around the corner, and we'll have everything you need to know right here.
That's a great plug.
Big time.
Thanks.
And Beer Baron, I'm hoping to see you sooner rather than later next week.
Yeah, dude, we got to make that happen for sure.
We will.
Well, I have nothing to say, really, other than go to joinourcrew.com. Go to pucksandpitchforks.com as well for all your Devils needs. We're going to have some big things happening this upcoming season. The 1 million party coming over the horizon.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Other stuff as well. But
that last party was a good time. This one's going to be even better.
Yeah, we may have. I got to confirm if we have DJ Shelley for opening night.
Ooh,
yeah,
that'd be a fun time.
Maybe do a mashup of my, iPod Shuffle from 2006. Just kind of mix it in.
Love it.
Little Drowning Pool, little Metallica. What else did I used to listen to? Papa Roach.
It's very nostalgic.
Yeah. 311. I don't know. Sublime. Maybe she'll do something.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Universal.
Yeah. Well, that concludes this podcast. Dropping the podcast at midnight for your morning and afternoon commute. Max, it's Thursday is opening night for home opener.
Sounds like a Friday off for Mr. Max.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even counting like the European games. They're just kind of, to me, glorified
extended preseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, extended preseason.
But they actually
Even
count.
though
But
they
count.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, welcome back, Andy Greene. That's right.
Yeah, Andy Greene.
Till next time, let's go to.